Dear families of the class of 2026, welcome to our PPE Preparation Evening summary. Please do pause the video at any time to read the information in more detail. One of the most important messages from the evening was that being good at exams isn't about taking it, it's all about the preparation, and that's really what the rest of this presentation and indeed the evening was about. It's worth saying at this stage, although unapologetically this presentation was about exams and preparing and getting the best grades possible, it is the character of our students that allows them to enter the door to a world of possibilities. So developing the resourcefulness, resilience, confidence and all of the other skills that we know are important in life is also part of the rest of this year and was part of the presentation. So in 2 months' time, our Year 10s have their PPEs. This is the first attempt to practice all of the skills and preparation needed to be successful. And sitting a PPE, sitting the exams is quite a unique experience. From organising your revision well in advance, sitting down, turning up and doing it, applying the revision strategies to get the most out of it, all the way through to entering the sports hall, feeling that anxiety. And it's worth saying, although the first attempt at that mock exam process is in 2 months' time, there'll be another attempt in November of Year 11, and then the next attempt is actually the real thing. So although it feels like the exams are a long way away, there's actually only a couple of practice runs between now and then, so we need to make everyone count. And in order to be successful, we all need to work together. Us as teachers and a school, our brilliant Year 10 students, but your role as families is absolutely crucial, and I'll return back to this idea of working together again throughout this presentation. So the 3 questions I hope that this summary video answers is when to revise, what to revise, and how to revise. And I'll go through these in turn now. So let's start off with when to revise. So every student in Year 10 has been given a revision planner that looks a little bit like this, and it goes all the way from this week all the way through to the end of the PPE exams in June, and it's a way to map out when you're going to complete your revision. The first thing to do is to add on when all of your PPE exams are, and exam timetables will be given out over the next week or 2. The second thing is to add into it all the times you're not going to complete revision. It's really important to find this balance and to have breaks and to have time off and to keep doing the things you love to do. Finally though, of course, you're going to add in when you will be completing revision. This is on top of homeworks that are set, on top of coming to school each day, of course, and it's adding in the times you can do that. We recommend revising no more than 2 or 3 subjects in any one day, so it feels really manageable, keeping that revision little and often. Of course, if you have an exam the next day, revising that the night before is going to be essential. And it's worth saying this example goes just a week before the first exam, but this revision process begins right away. Adding when we're going to revise to the planner is a really important first step, but getting into the habit of stepping up, completing homework, completing revision is an absolutely essential part of being successful. Saying you're going to do it and planning it out is a very important first step. Turning up and doing it is a really important next step. Over half of our Year 10 students didn't receive a single homework point last term, but it's worth reflecting on how successfully is your child completing homework? How consistently are they doing that? That's a really important discussion to have at home, and thinking about how we can improve those homework habits. Completing homework means revision will be completed. Revision being completed means our students will be as prepared as possible for their exams. So it's absolutely vital. Every child in Year 10 has received a personalised exam checklist, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later on. But at the very back of it is a revision tracker. We recommend to revise a minimum of 50 hours between now and the PPEs to be as prepared as possible. I'll talk through a breakdown of this in a minute so it feels really manageable, but actually as a tracker at the back, so each week you can track the hours of additional revision you're completing. This is extremely motivating and lets you see the progress you're making. There's also a space to add in some small family rewards. Again, this can support with motivation. The challenge is to complete a minimum of 50 hours of revision between now and the PPE exams. A lot of this happens just by consistently completing homework, as I talked about earlier. Actually, 30 minutes for each subject each week over the next 7 weeks is 28 hours of these 50 hours just by regularly, consistently completing homework. If you were to do an additional 2 hours of revision each weekend for the next 7 weekends, that's another 14 hours. Some of the work we're going to do in tutor times will support with that, and then over half term as well. What we're doing is creating great revision habits where we're regularly and consistently revising, and you'll find those 50 hours are actually absolutely achievable. Again, your role as families is absolutely key. If there's one thing you do this weekend, then please sit down, start completing the revision planner, mapping out the next few weeks of revision for you and your child as a family, and then put that planner up somewhere really obvious at home where you can all hold each other to account for completing that revision. Now let's talk about what to revise. Every child in Year 10 was given a personalised exam checklist. This contains everything our students need to know to achieve their potential. It's got lots of guidance and advice already in the first few pages, so I really recommend you sit down as a family and flick through it, but then it really talks through what to revise and how to revise in some detail. Each child receives a one-page checklist for every single exam they're going to have in their PPEs. At the top of it says the subject, so English language in this example, the exam board on the right hand side just to make sure you're buying the correct revision guides, etc. Then underneath there's a space where your child can fill in when the PPE is, an exam overview so you know exactly what's going to be in every PPE you're going to sit, and on the right hand side some recommended revision resources. And this might be a moment just to check you have everything that your child might need to be successful. Often that's just exercise books or YouTube videos or past papers you'll be given, but there are some revision guides that you might want to consider buying from our Academy shop. The most important part of each personalised exam checklist is the list of topics that need to be revised. These are all the things that could come up in the PPEs at the end of the year. What we guarantee is if your child learns and knows knowledge about all of these different topics, there won't be a single question in their PPEs or indeed in the real exams which they cannot answer. So it's a really good reassurance for what to revise for each exam. It then details the revision resource, so where to revise this particular topic, and then there's a space to track your progress. Every time revision is completed, either in school or at home, write the date that revision happened and a RAG rating, red, amber or green, so you can see how confident you are. This lets you really quickly make sure you don't have any gaps, that every topic has been revised. And it allows you to prioritise revision. So you revise the reds first, move all the reds to amber, and then all the ambers to green. And of course, see the brilliant progress you're making. Finally, at the bottom of every page are some top tips. This is expert advice and absolutely invaluable to read carefully. It's important you bring your personalised exam checklist into school every day. Get it out in every lesson. I recommend just putting it straight into your equipment folder so you got it handy. And when you're at home, when you're completing revision, again, get it out so you can date and RAG the revision you're doing and update your tracker every time. Begin to see the progress being made. The hardest part is when the checklists are blank and it can feel like there's quite a lot needing to revise. When you start using it and start completing it, you'll start feeling the progress and seeing the confidence grow. Finally, let's look at how to revise. All of our Year 10 students have had a number of assemblies and tutor sessions revising the core four, the 4 revision strategies that we think make the biggest difference: brain dumps, mind maps, flashcards and self-quizzing. These are the sorts of strategies you should be seeing your child using at home, and you can absolutely get involved, testing them on their mind maps, testing them on their flashcards, quizzing them on their knowledge. It's really motivating to have someone else to work with, so I really encourage you to get involved in their revision too. One of the unique things we do as a school is something called Period Zero, and you'll see over the next coming weeks your child will have some additional revision time built into their school day, again just to boost confidence and get ready for those PPEs. Of course, although all of the revision at home is absolutely essential to success, what happens in the classroom each and every day is even more important. When you look at the impact of attendance and how many hours are missed from 90% attendance, which might appear to be okay, But actually, when you think that's 500 hours of lost learning over the 5 years you're here, you can really begin to appreciate the importance of being here every day that you possibly can be. The impact attendance has on outcomes of GCSE is crystal clear, so it feels really important to talk about that a little bit in this presentation. The difference the 90 to 95%, 95% plus has on outcomes in English and maths is absolutely huge. You can be 2, 3, even more times more likely to get a grade 5 in English and maths for every 5% more that you're in school, and that's even higher as we go down the percentages. So once again, really important part of being successful in the PPEs is being here every single day. The next year isn't all about exams though. I did talk about that balance earlier on, and there are so many opportunities to develop our students' character and have fun and enjoy the experience of being at school. There's going to be an event later on this term to reward you for getting your attendance, behaviour and culture right. There's work experience coming up, college experience days, an overdue hot chocolate for Mr. Tom's, the final sports day you'll have at the school, the handover of ties as you become part of year 11 very soon, and of course next year being role models for the school, the 24-hour charity challenge, the silent disco and the ball. What a year you have ahead. I want to end this presentation by just returning to that idea of balance again. And it's really important that our students recognise the level of stress they're putting on themselves. It's natural to feel some stress when you come up to an exam period. We don't really want our students in the green too little stress zone where they're a bit too laid back, but it's really important they don't fall into the exhaustion, anxiety and kind of burnout zones as well. Nobody performs well in any exam if they're feeling like that. So again, it's just judging that level of stress. And your role as families, parents and carers is really important in this. No one knows your child better than you, so you'll know when they need a bit of a nudge to work a little bit harder or when they need to have a bit more of a break. Again, all of us working together is absolutely the best way to make this experience as successful, positive and confidence building as we can. So finally, hopefully you can see that being good at exams is not really about the taking of it, much more about the preparation. Mapping out when to revise using our revision planner, really thinking about what to revise using our personalised exam checklist and tracking that revision to build confidence and motivation, and then using our core 4 revision strategies to ensure we know how to revise really successfully. All of this will ensure our Year 10 students are as prepared as possible for their PPEs later this year and beyond. Thank you very much.